Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to tell the story of the Phantom Stalker. It was one of those sweltering summer days that made the air heavy and still. The kind of day where shadows stretched long and secrets seemed to whisper in the breeze. For Iara, a young woman of 24, living in the city, it was just another Tuesday, but soon it would turn into much more than that. Iara had just moved into a new apartment. The building was old, its brick facade staring blankly into the indifferent eyes of the street. It was a kind of building that held its secrets close, its past seeping into the very walls. But for Iara, it was a fresh start, a chance to turn over a new leaf. Little did she know she was bringing herself right into the middle of a nightmare. Her life had been pretty uneventful lately. A steady job, a circle of friends who were more like family and dreams that stretched as far as the horizon. Then the unsettling feeling started to creep in. A prickling at the back of her neck, a fleeting glimpse of movement out of the corner of her eye. She dismissed it as the overactive imagination of a mind that was probably just overworked. One evening, however, as she was settling down after a particularly trying day, she noticed something. It was a small thing, a misplaced flower pot or a shadow that lingered just a little too long. She couldn't quite put her finger on it, but there was something amiss. That night, as she lay in bed, the darkness around her seemed to deepen. Every creak of the old house, every rustle of leaves outside her window became a potential intruder. Her heart hammered against her ribs, threatening to burst from her chest. Sleep seemed a distant memory as she sat there, trapped between the darkness of night and the dawning realization that she might not be alone. Days turned into weeks, and the feeling of being watched intensified. Iara found herself constantly on edge, her days filled with the growing dread of what might happen when the sun went down. The normalcy of her life was being stripped away, replaced by a gnawing paranoia. She started seeing shadows that seemed to follow her, faces that appeared and disappeared at the edge of her vision. Was she truly being stalked, or was her mind playing tricks on her? Then came the notes. At first, they were cryptic, seemingly random words scrawled on pieces of paper that appeared at her doorstep or tucked under her windshield wipers. They were written in a flowing script that seemed almost elegant in its simplicity. "Beware," one note read. Another simply said, "I know your secrets." Fear, cold and clammy, coiled itself around her heart. Who was behind these notes? Why was she receiving them? And what secrets could possibly be revealed? Determined to find answers, Iara turned to the one person she thought could help her, the enigmatic detective Harding. Harding was a man carved from the same stoic wood as the city's many buildings, his face lined with the weariness of countless cases seen and solved. He was the kind of man who did uncrack a smile, unless he was joking, and even then, it was unclear. There was something about him, though, an unwavering intensity, a focus that never wavered that gave her a sense of security, albeit a fragile one. Harding listened intently, his gaze steady as he took in every detail. When Iara finished her story, he remained silent for a moment, his eyes distant as if he was piecing together a puzzle in his head. Finally, he spoke, his voice gruff, but surprisingly reassuring. "Miss Davenport, I assure you we will get to the bottom of this." His words were a bomb on her raw nerves. But as the days passed without any substantial leads, her hope began to dwindle. She started noticing things. Small, seemingly insignificant things that others might have overlooked. A torn piece of fabric snagged on a rosebush, a muddy footprint by her door, the lingering scent of a particular cologne. Each clue was a breadcrumb, a faint trail leading her deeper into the heart of the mystery. But the closer she followed, the more elusive the scent became. As the days went by, Iara found herself drawn into a labyrinth of fear and suspicion. The notes continued, more frequent now, more menacing. "You can't hide. One read. Another simply said, "I'm watching." With each note, the terror grew, twisting and coiling around her heart, until it felt like it would burst. Sleep offered no escape. Nightmares clung to her like a second skin, their icy fingers digging into her dreams. In them, she was always running, always hiding, yet never quite safe. The line between dreams and reality started to blur. The nightmares bled into her waking hours, casting long shadows of doubt and fear. Determined to take control, Iara decided to install security cameras around her apartment, hoping to capture any sign of her stalker. Yet ironically, it was her own reflection that stared back at her from the monitor. A pale, frightened face, framed by unruly hair. The knowledge that she was being watched intensified, but the stalker's identity remained a mystery hidden just beyond her sight. Driven to the brink, Iara pored over the details of the case, searching for a connection, a link to someone who might hold the key to the mystery. And then it hit her. The torn piece of fabric, the footprint, the cologne, they all seemed insignificant on their own, but taken together, they formed a picture of a man she knew, or rather, a man she once knew. It was Michael, her ex-boy. The realization hit her like a tidal wave, knocking the breath out of her lungs and leaving her gasping in its wake. Memories flooded back, conversations, gestures, a possessive streak that had once seemed endearing but now appeared sinister. Could it really be him? The question hung in the air, unanswered. Yet the truth seemed undeniable. Fueled by a mix of fear and determination, Iara decided to confront Michael. She found him in a crowded pub, his back to her, talking animatedly to a group of friends. As she approached, his laughter died down, replaced by a guarded silence. When he turned, their eyes met, and time seemed to stop. The confrontation was tense. A silent battle of wills played out between them. Finally, Michael spoke, his voice a low growl. "What do you want?" Ilara's voice trembled slightly, betraying her fear. "Why are you stalking me?" The words hung between them, heavy with accusation. Michael's face twisted in a mixture of anger and pain. "Stalking you? I'm not stalking you." But his denial rang hollow. The situation escalated, and Michael's true colors shone through, his words becoming a venomous hiss. "You never loved me. You never did." Tears welled up in Ilara's eyes, blurring her vision. "That's not true. I did love you." Yet even as she said the words, she couldn't shake off the feeling that Michael wasn't the only one to blame. There was something else at play here, some unseen force that had driven him to this point. As the conversation grew more heated, Michael stood abruptly, his chair scraping harshly against the floor. "Get away from me! I don't ever want to see you again," he stormed out, leaving Iara shaken and more determined than ever to uncover the truth. But the deeper she delved, the more she realized the truth was a treacherous path, one that led her into the darkest corners of her own mind. Was she truly being stalked, or was her fear getting the better of her? Was Michael the villain, or merely a pawn in a game she didn't understand? With each passing day, the line between reality and illusion became thinner, making her question everything she saw, heard, and felt. In the end, the truth was a bitter pill to swallow, a harsh reality that shattered the illusion and left her questioning the nature of trust, perception, and the depths of human obsession. The story of the Phantom Stalker is a chilling tale of paranoia and obsession. It reminds us that sometimes the greatest horrors lurk not in the shadows, but in the minds of those closest to us. And now it's time to make your voice heard. Comment below with your theories about the Phantom Stalker. Did Iara imagine everything? Or was there a real stalker lurking in the shadows? Share your thoughts and let the discussion begin. And if you liked this haunting story, don't forget to show your support. Your engagement fuels our passion for storytelling. So until next time, keep an eye out for the shadows, because sometimes they hold secrets that are best left buried.